Oh, time to get out the tent. This wild camping malarkey isn't all sunshine and roses, and I'm a great believer in showing that. Wow, fitness is shocking at the minute. Hello YouTube. Once again, I'm out on another wild camping adventure. And first of all, a big thank you for joining me once again on this one. And if you're a new viewer to the channel, welcome to A Cumbrian Lad Outdoors. Today I am just the backside of Whinlatter. Just to the right of that bridge is where I've parked. You can see we've got a lovely little river flowing down the valley. And I've already started the ascent up to the summit of the first of today's two Whinlatters. First one of which will be Greystones, and then on to Broom Fell. Once I've summited them both, I'm going to make a decision on which one I'm going to camp. It is cold and overcast, but there's no rain forecast, and the wind is quite low as well. A perfect day for a wild camp. And you can see the start of this one is a bit rocky and quite steep. Right, let's get it done. We're on track and I'm about 15 minutes in. Whew. And it's time for a wee rest already. The start of this one is very steep. You can see just the front end of my car down there where I've parked. We're already quite a bit above that bridge. The views are opening up nicely. And I'm definitely ready for this one today. I've had a couple of days away with work up in Edinburgh for a work event. Back in work Friday, and last night I was absolutely knackered. I think I must have hit the bed about 7:30. I really enjoyed the work event, but for some strange reason I get really anxious when I go into a big city. And I was discussing this with a few workmates, and it's really weird that somebody like myself, who is totally comfortable out on the mountaintops on their own in the middle of winter, horrific weather, completely at home, comfortable, send them into a big city where they've got to catch a bus to get somewhere, and the anxiety levels, mine were just through the roof, man. It's crazy. So yeah, with all that going on this week, I'm definitely ready for a nice chilled solo wild camp. Wow, that has got to be one of the steepest sections of fell I've walked in my life. Short and sweet, and it's over with now, but boy am I glad it is. And I'm not looking forward to walking back down that in the morning either. Oh, we're getting some great views now though, well worth it. And we're going to wave goodbye to these views shortly. I think I can just so see a walker on the top of Greystones, and then we'll be walking the other side of this to get some views down the other side of the valley. Oh, I've had some nice easy, relatively easy camps during the winter, but it is most definitely time to start pushing myself further. As I've mentioned in the last few videos, I've got at least 2 multi-day hikes planned this year, so I do need to start getting some miles underneath my belt. And I'm definitely feeling it, trust me on that. Oh. Right, like I say, it doesn't look like it's too much further to the summit of Greystones. Oh, we're really not far off the top now. I've just bumped into a lovely fella called Tom. Although he wasn't subscribed to my channel, he had seen me in the past, and we were both commenting on just how steep that initial climb is. Yeah, we were both in agreement with that. Oh dear me, what a lovely chap as well. If you do find the video, nice to meet you, mate, and I hope you enjoy the video. But we're just coming up on the summit now. Do have a few people here. Oh, well, here we go. Summit cairn. Oh, Greystones. Done and boshed it, mate. Oh, another one off the list, and the first of 2 today. Oh wow. Now apparently This summit here and the one you can see just over there where there's a couple of people, Wainwright reckoned this was the summit of Greystones, and Burkett reckoned that was the summit of Greystones. On this occasion I'm going with the good old Alfred Wainwright. Great panoramic views now, all sides. Oh dear me. Right, I'm going to take 5 minutes here, get some water on board, let the legs recover a bit, and then on to Broom Fell, which is out yonder somewhere. Well, I had a nice little rest on the top of that first summit there, and as I said, that was well needed. I was pooped, but we're well on the way to Broom Fell, with a second destination for today. So far, since dropping down from Greystones, there's not been much in the way of views. You can see to my left it's pretty much just open fell side. This time of year there's not much in the way of colour. It's quite cloudy and a bit misty in the distance, so there's not much in the way of views either. To my right we are getting some views back over Whinlatter. You can see just how foggy it is on top of the mountains over there. And I've had a couple of little slips as well. I haven't managed to go on my backside, but although the ground is wet and sodden here, it is frozen quite hard on the crust on the top. So a couple of little slips, I've jarred my back a little bit, but so far we're all good. Putting up with the pain. Once I get to the next summit I'm going to take some ibuprofen, and that'll ease the pain for the rest of the camp. We've finished the relatively undulating flat since leaving Greystones now, and as you can see behind me we've got nature's ladder. Looks like the last push towards the summit of Broom Fell is going to be a steep one. You can see where everyone's footprints have worn it away. Oh, so I'm definitely going to take a couple of minutes here before making the final ascent. Just after that last ascent, where it was stepped slightly, that was very steep by the way, there was a little bit of flat, followed by another little bit of an ascent which I'm currently on. But I am approaching the summit of the second Wainwright of the day, Broom Fell, and it does look like there's quite a big trig point here. Oh, it's a good job I'm starting to put a few more miles in. Oh, fitness is shocking at the minute. So if I am not mistaken, this is the summit of Broom Fell, and it has been well and truly done and boshed. And I'm rewarded with some cracking views down the Whinlatter Pass and to the mountains in the background. You see that way the big summits are still shrouded in cloud and mist, but if I spin you around, just looking down Whinlatter and the pass and onto the mountains in the distance, that is stunning. Greystones just there, and somewhere that way is onto Lord's Seat and Bath, both of which I've done. And I've just realised I didn't actually take any photos on top of Greystones. However, they shouldn't be that much different than they are from here. Right, decisions. Do I camp here for the night and reduce my walk back in the morning, or do I have a little bit of a rest and stay here and have a slightly longer walk in the morning? Only time will tell, so I'm going to take a break here and have a think about where I'm going to pitch up for the night. Well, I've made my decision. I had a nice 10-minute rest at the top of Broom Fell, got the wind back in my sails, and I am now heading back to Greystones. 2 or 3 reasons really. One, the views from Broom Fell are slightly jaded by the mist, so they weren't that great, and also one direction you're looking straight onto a a mountain that's covered in heavy cloud. So I think I've got more chance of getting whatever kind of sunset we're going to get tonight, and better views down the valley from Greystones. And second to that, it will also shorten my walk in the morning back to the car. It's probably going to take me about 45 minutes to get back to Greystones, which should see me about 4 o'clock, which this time of year will be perfectly okay to start setting the tent up immediately, get my tea on, hopefully be able to sit outside the tent again with a bit of luck, and then get my head down, get a good night's sleep, charge the batteries up ready for walking back to the car in the morning and making the most of a Sunday. So we shall see you back on Greystones with the tent set up. It was most definitely the right decision to come back here. You can see I've just got a pitch just off the summit. Looking back over towards Broom Fell, the views the other side are starting to look pretty grim. Spin you around, you can see the higher mountains are still shrouded in cloud, but over this way we are starting to get some lovely colours just past the mountain tops and over towards the sea. My chances of sitting out and enjoying the view are slowly getting lower and lower. Although the wind isn't particularly hard, it is absolutely freezing. My nose is running like a tap, my fingertips are numb. So it's looking more and more likely that tea will be inside the tent tonight. And tonight's setup is my usual. It'll be no surprise to any of you that watch the channel regular. Tarp tent, Scarp 1 Ultra, Sea2 Summit Etherlight XT Extreme with the premium pillar and the OEX Leviathan EV900. Even Tactical Duck doesn't fancy sitting out for his tea tonight. If you know, you know. I do have my heated gilet and my nature hike down pants and boots, which will help keep me warm tonight. But even with them on, I don't fancy sitting out here tonight. I do have 2 or 3 alcohol-free brew dogs. I've got a now trademarked Yeti brekkie for morning, and the other half of my beef and veg stir fry, soy and garlic and chili noodles for tea tonight, which was delicious last week, so I'm really looking forward to that. So I think what I'll do now is I'm going to set the action cam up and see if I can capture any kind of sunset time lapse. I'm going to jump in the tent, see, I might try and get the drone up, we'll see. And I'm going to get my tea on because I am absolutely starving. Pumped a good few miles in today, and like I've already said, the start of that walk was a steep one. And it is a little bit of a celebratory camp this week. 6 months ago today was the last time I consumed any alcohol. Not that I ever had any problem with alcohol, you know what I mean, but it was just a decision I made, and I've got to say my life's got better since I've stopped. I definitely don't miss the hangovers, and at that works do, it was absolutely hilarious watching everybody come downstairs in the morning absolutely hanging, and I was fresh as anything. Yeah, it's definitely something to be celebrated for me, that it really is. Right, I'm going to jump in the tent and get the tea on. That's how cold it is. Honestly, now I'm back inside my tent, I'm starting to get warmed up, but I can't believe how cold it's gotten all of a sudden. I mean, it was fresh anyways, but wow. This wild camping malarkey isn't all sunshine and roses, and I'm a great believer in showing that. As you can probably hear, the jet boil's on, so my tea's on the go. I have put the action cam outside, so I'm hoping to get at least some kind of sunset time lapse. And the view out my tent isn't too bad. And the sun is almost down as well, so time is ticking on, so I'm looking forward to my tea and a good night's sleep. 20 minutes and my food will be ready. Oh, am I ready for this? I am very hungry. Just been over to get the action cam and over where I was getting the footage from. I don't know whether I've got much. I'll be able to have a look tonight when I knock the the camera off for the evening and start doing a bit of editing, but fingers crossed I've got a bit of something anyways. Oh, it's heaven. I know I keep banging on about doing your home cooked food in these Mylar bags, but I honestly can't tell you just how good it is. Right, you guys don't need to see me stuffing my face for the next 10 minutes. You've seen enough of that over the years. So I'm going to knock the camera off, but I'll definitely speak to you again before it's bedtime. It's now 7:30 and it's pitch dark outside. To be honest, there's not a lot going on. I did have half decent signal on my mobile phone, so I've been playing my little Words with Friends game. That's now dropped to virtually nothing. It's still cold, surprisingly cold. If my hands are out my sleeping bag, they start to get numb pretty quickly. So I think I'm going to get my head down and see if I can get a nice long good night's sleep. My tea's just about settled enough to do that, but I'm already looking forward to my breakfast in the morning. Enjoy the photos and footage I've got for you overnight, and we'll see you in the morning. Good morning everyone. Once again the old body clock's woken me up at exactly 4 o'clock in the morning. The wind's blustering around a little bit. It's not terrible, but it did wake me up a few times even with the earplugs in. But I had my head down fairly early, so I reckon I've had about 6.5, 7 hours sleep, something like that, so I'm quite happy with that. Let's get that breakfast on. Better. No better than a morning coffee at camp. Whew. Until you get to breakfast. Right, as usual, I'll get this finished off and then it'll be time to start thinking about packing up inside the tent and getting ready to head down the mountain. That is me just about packed up inside the tent. We have got a little bit of a lull in the wind at the moment, but while I've been packing up, it has been gusting quite strongly, which wasn't forecast. Consequently, it's going to be a cold walk down to the car, and that steep section at the start of the ascent is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm hoping that once I get down that side, I'm going to get a bit of cover from the wind. Oh, time to get out the tent. Well, that was not very pleasant packing the tent away in this weather. You won't be able to see just at the moment, but it is very misty this morning, and that wind is consistently gusting quite high now. But I've managed to do it. My hands are cold. Got the Go Cozy heated gloves on, which are helping my hands massively. That's where I had my tent there. Nothing left behind. There's my rucksack with all the rubbish in. So as always, and as it should be, I'll be leaving no trace. It is most definitely time to get myself back to the car. Even though it's such a short route, I'm going to be putting my Garmin on reverse course with the lack of visibility with this mist. I just want to make sure that I stick to the course and don't wander off. Wow, that has got to be one of the trickiest descents I've done in a long time. Look at the clip of us. Not just because of the gradient of the descent, but if you factor in it was pitch dark and it was foggy as anything. Yeah, those three combined really did make it quite tricky. Having the Garmin on reverse route was an absolute godsend. There's so many little paths there, especially with it being dark and so foggy. It would have been easy just to go off on the wrong path, it really would. And with the steepness, my walking poles also a godsend as well. Oh dear me. And I really didn't enjoy packing that tent away. That was pretty harsh up there. Nevertheless, it is time for me to get myself away home. Thank you once again for joining me on another wild camp. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. So once again, until next time, stay safe, much love from a Cumbrian lad.